$1,000 a day ain't too bad.
That's actually very good.
It's a good rate.
Yeah.
That's a solid rate. Solid rate.
Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full-frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my co-host Ryan.
Hello.
And even more excitingly, I am joined by our dear, dear friend, Miriam. Hi, Miriam.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to join you for another film and phallus.
Excellent. Well, this is, what did you call it, Miriam? Freaky Phallus Friday?
Yeah, it sure did.
Okay. Yeah, it used to be Spooky Penis Month.
Freaky Phallus Friday.
Yeah, that doesn't mean the penises are freaky, but they're maybe in a freaky context. We are here to talk about the horror film from 2017, Creep 2, starring Mark Duplass, Desiree Akhavan, and directed by Patrick Brice. So I know you've got a couple things to say about Patrick, Ryan.
Yes.
And, yeah, why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown?
Yeah, I'll get it out of the way. So Patrick Brice is a director, writer, actor, and cinematographer.
My.
So let's just say Creep was his first feature film. It was his directorial debut, and effectively begins his relationship with this man called Mark Duplass.
Aw.
Obviously, Mark Duplass has gone on to do his own kind of filmography, with obviously Duplass Productions making their own films.
Classic.
And yeah, that's like Cyrus, The Puffy Chair, Baghead, Jeff Who Lives at Home, like that sort of stuff. But I remember him more fondly from The League.
Same!
I love The League.
Same!
As an actor.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Patrick shot Creep and also Creep 2. That's why he's declared a cinematographer. And I put that in speech marks because I don't think there's anything pretty about these two films.
I disagree.
But he's also made a bunch of other stuff. There's obviously Creep in 2014, The Overnight in 2015.
That has penises in it.
Oh, The Overnight?
Yeah.
Oh, so we'll have
They
to come
are
back to this. Oh,
fake.
Fuck. Oh, they're fake.
What?
They're super fake.
Okay.
Fake dicks, come on.
Charlatans. And then obviously we're covering Creep 2 today, which was made in 2017, but just to kind of cover everything else, he also made a movie called Corporate Animals in 2019. There's Someone Inside Your House in 2021. He also directed Hey Loose. He was also the co-director on that movie, and he's also done episodes of Room 104. Let's just say a lot of this stuff's on Netflix. He's got a kind of partnership with Netflix, so that's kind of primarily where all of his work is situated at the moment. I mean, I don't really have much to say about the guy. I mean, the dude's working and making stuff, and it feels like a relatively quite mediocre, middling sort of body of work.
What?
We will find out as this goes on how I feel about Creep 2.
I'm not happy about this at all. At all. Well, Mark Duplass plays Aaron, and in the first film, he was Joseph. So, and then we come to learn that he basically takes the name of his victims, because Aaron, in the first movie, was played by Patrick Brice, who he murdered. And then assumed his identity.
It's also not Aaron, it's Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was Aaron because they say Aaron, but it's Aaron.
Just makes it more guttural when it's Aaron and not Aaron, you know? It's just a little bit more Aaron. He likes those guttural sounds, doesn't he?
We know that no one from a Celtic persuasion has any way of being able to roll their R's effectively.
You are correct.
Aaron, It's all very
Aaron.
nasal.
Aaron. Arr.
Aaron.
Well, it's
Yeah.
easier for those of us who grew up in South Florida because, you know, you have a lot of the, like, Latin American influence. So if you can't do your R's, you have a problem, you know? You got to be able to pronounce things correctly. It's not burrito,
Yeah,
it's
that's it.
burrito.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't do that.
Yeah, come on,
There you
Laura.
go, you haven't got the spice.
Arr.
Oh,
Arr. Yeah,
This is
you
messed
don't have
up.
the spice.
I feel attacked.
Well, the hardest one, I think, for a lot of people
Yeah.
is the German, like, because it's like when you're gargling, it's like all the way in the back of your throat. And it's like, if you can't make the you can't speak German. And then you just sound like a bad Indiana Jones film. And, you know, we love them, but come on, like, that's not what we sound like.
Yeah, look at you with your German heritage.
Yeah, they'll never accept me.
No.
Feel like the castle in the film is that like famous German Nuremberg castle, like the one like in the Schwarzwald, like the famous fairy tale castle, which is really funny because it makes kind of sense with his whole like big bad wolf obsession thing that he has, you know?
Oh.
All that Grimm's fairy tale stuff like that like are alluded to in the film, you know?
Peach Fuzz?
Like
wolf?
like the whole like just like the woods, the wolf, the bridge, like, you know, the concept of like the bridge is a big deal because like the bridge is like, you know, where you pay the troll toll. And like also there's a lot of like there's just a lot, just felt very Grimm's fairy tale-y, you know, for no.
Yeah, some would even say tropey. Horror filmy
Well, I mean,
tropey.
it is a comedy. Like it's like clearly we all know that like it's kind of supposed to be a dark comedy, right? Like it's not like scary. So
Yeah, I definitely think they went for more comedy in this one than they did in the original.
Yeah. I mean,
Awkward
yeah, I would
comedy.
probably
Yeah.
agree.
Very awkward.
like Larry David level awkward, cringy, yeah,
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah, definitely. So let me throw out there the synopsis before we get too deep. And it's long, so just be warned. After finding an ad online for video work, Sarah, a video artist whose primary focus is creating intimacy with lonely men, thinks she may have found the subject of her dreams. She drives to a remote house in the forest and meets a man claiming to be a serial killer. Unable to resist the chance to create a truly shocking piece of art, she agrees to spend the day with him. However, as the day goes on, she discovers she may have dug herself into a hole from which she can't escape.
Wow. Is that really it? That's what.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty
Yeah, that's
much
it.
the entire movie.
Is that what's on the box?
I love
of
it when
the
a
back of the box
synopsis is
in the
the plot.
VHS store.
The whole plot.
Yes.
Let me give you the tagline, which is kind of weird. Oh my god, this is going to be a good day. That's the tagline.
That's weird.
That's a line from the movie, right?
I don't...
Yeah, it's the line that the guy says when he first meets him, when he tells the story about like when he was a little boy and like the creepy dude picks him up off the side of the road and like beats him to death or whatever.
Another line I liked, which I meant to drop in the beginning of the episode, was "Let's go deep together" from his ad.
What a missed opportunity.
I was say, Ryan, Miriam, let's go deep together.
Yeah.
Much of this film was actually improvised, if you didn't know that, because they only had a written outline to work with. So there was...
Really?
Yeah.
You're joking.
I'm not.
I can't believe it.
I feel like you're joking.
I am. You're gonna tell me it was shot in like 2 days.
6 days.
Oh, fucking looks like it.
Whew.
God, you guys.
I kind of wanted to do a brief overview of this subgenre just now before we kind of get into the meat and the bones of this thing. 'Cause
Like
this
of
is
found footage films?
so.
Or
I guess this
handheld, kinda?
falls into like the documentary or the mockumentary or the found footage subgenre of horror, which has obviously been popularized since Blair Witch came out in like 97 or 98 or whatever it was. And since then, there's been at least 400 different films with almost this exact same sort of stylist, like, concept,
Okay.
and has thus created a fairly abundant list of tropey things that that categorize this particular subgenre. And I mean, I'll list off some films.
Wait, I want to see if how many Miriam can name of
Well, let's-
found footage films
okay.
other than Blair
I like
Witch.
this.
I actually, hold on, let me get my pen out first, and I'll cross off the ones that I have on my list.
Because we know that Miriam loves horror movies, and this is why she's on this episode.
Okay.
Because we made her do that James Ivory picture, which is very funny, actually. Did you know, Miriam, that was episode 17? And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is episode 34.
Yeah.
So it is...
Oh, look at that.
You're only allowed
this
on...
This is my
every
lucky
17
number. Is
episodes.
only on every 17th episode. Fantastic. I love this.
Yeah, it's
This is
only
our
taken
friends.
us 17 episodes to sort our shit out.
Yeah, from February
Well,
until end of September.
still
Yeah.
waiting for that.
So, okay.
Well, off the top of my head, like, obviously, you've got ones that are of a genre that's, like, maybe not necessarily horror. You've got all those, like, kind of, like, Cloverfield movies that are, like, kind of meant to be found footage, but you're just like,
Nice,
where
that's
was
one.
the camera in that scene? Like, where is the who's holding that camera? Like, really? Like, that's not, come on. All right, Abrams,
No, they
whatever.
show you. It's one of the party goers in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, who they just passing the camera around. You're like, really? It's the end of the world. I'm not letting some random scaboid take my camera that they can sell for like a bus ticket out of here.
Well, I don't know,
And
Miriam.
then there's,
Everyone,
like, the
everyone's
Hell
on their
House.
phone now, taking videos, trying to instigate some sort
Yeah.
of situation
Yeah.
so they can go
They are.
viral. It makes sense. Just
true.
pass over the incredibly
for sure.
high quality HD camera that's shooting in 4K, and it never stops recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it just happens to come with like a drone mount as well.
Yeah, of course, it
So
moves
then there's like the
itself.
Hell House LLC ones, which I really enjoy because I love the types of found footage movies.
Yes, no, that's another one. That is two.
Those are great. No, I love that one. Okay, calm down. I'm just talking about why I like them. Then you have your Paranormal Activity ones.
There we go. That's three.
Which is not found footage,
good.
but it's like security. And then you've got like the ones that are filmed on like, you know, your video cameras, like the Korean ones where, you know, it's like the zombie apocalypse is happening, but he's just like sending TikToks and Instagrams and Twitter. Like, I think that counts.
That's probably
there's
here.
another
but
one
I'm not
which is
too-
like-
Yeah, I don't know if it's on my list. There's only so
which
much
is-
paper.
which is found footage. Geez, wow, you really know more than a lot, obviously. But there's another one that I really enjoy. It's what I watched recently, and it's found footage in the fact that they were all doing like a live video stream that was being recorded, and it was actually done during lockdown, and it was all over their computers, and there was like a demon that they accidentally like summoned
Host.
via. Is that it?
Yeah, it's called Host.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was really
So
good.
that's four.
She's good, I tell you.
There's probably a lot more, but like I've been put on the spot, so
You've done really well for being on
Yeah,
the spot,
wasn't
I
it?
have to say.
You did well. I mean, you probably should have prepared for this
well, I
particular
didn't know
moment.
you were gonna quiz me, and allegedly they say that like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based on like found footage, but like it was the 70s, so they probably just didn't.
Nah.
But I'm sure you're gonna start naming a bunch, and I'm just gonna be like, seen it, but I forgot that that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm
Hopefully, otherwise, I'm a charlatan.
I am not here to trip you up. I just thought, let's just look at how oversaturated this entire genre is, because it's tiresome. And we'll try and go in it in order. And I mean, some of these I've seen, some of them I've not. So we have The Taking of Deborah Logan, Wreck, Troll
Yep, seen it.
Hunter, Lake Mungo,
Yep, seen it.
Noroi the Curse, Cannibal Holocaust, which is actually
Yep.
earlier than Blair Witch in 1980. And then we have VHS, the Poughkeepsie tapes, and the last one I'll note is we saw at the Orlando Film Festival was Dashcam. And
Who did that again? Do you remember?
some guy who made movies.
Great.
I didn't like it very much. Yeah, I didn't like it very much.
I thought it was
But,
fine.
There's There's a lot.
So do you not like the genre in general, or is it that like it's just oversaturated that any kind of anything that it had has been just taken away by the sheer shite that's been put out afterwards?
I feel like if you're going to do something like it, it has to have some sort of level of punch to it. And I think Dashcam, when we saw it recently, and that's a 2022 movie, does do some things relatively quite well if it's slightly marred by some references to the shadier sides of current societal issues that we're also dealing with and have been dealing with for the last kind of 2 years. But I feel like it has become particularly tired. And certainly if you take any sort of series of films that's like that, I think Paranormal Activity is definitely one where you're like, oh, I feel like they're just repeating the same film like 7 times.
Well, yeah, I stopped watching those.
Yeah.
But the first one is so good.
But they also, I mean, that's part of
the third one
that's
is
part
good.
of any horror anthology, you know? Like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or the Chucky movies. Like, they all have to hit certain things.
That's
for
fair.
you to accept them as what they are. But then we watched Child's Play recently.
Yeah, because that movie is amazing.
Because you dressed up as Chucky, like one day by accident. Yeah. So.
I did. I had an outfit and it was accidentally Chucky chic.
It was just Chucky, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you dressed like an inanimate doll that's marketed to like 6-year-olds.
Yeah, like a little boy doll. The hottest little boy doll you've ever seen.
I want that as my friend.
From this
yeah,
fetish.
no, she's my friend, fool.
I wanted to bring it back to Desiree, who plays Sarah. So it's interesting because she and Mark Duplass met at a pool party. And I guess they were playing some sort of game, and they got paired up together. And then they just got on like a house on fire. So he really liked her. He liked her style. So when they went to cast this film, he was like, I think this is one person that could go up against Aaron. Aaron.
for sure.
I can't do it. I'm not. Aaron.
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 Aaron. Aaron.
Aaron.
Joseph. His name in the credits is Joseph on Letterboxd, but it's different on the film.
On the film, it's Aaron.
Yeah, but on Letterboxd it's Joseph. Aaron.
I can't.
Aaron.
So
Aaron.
they thought she would be a good kind of opponent, just because she kind of has that attitude and that vibe. But
Tude.
she's got that tood. But
Yeah.
she's an actor, writer, director in her own right as well. Like, she's a filmmaker. The last thing she wrote and directed was 2018's The Miseducation of Cameron Post, who it stars Chloe Grace Moretz. So she makes stuff. She makes stuff too. Just throwing that out there. And they also, Patrick Bryce and Desiree would switch back and forth between who was handling the camera, because it was a really small crew, obviously. So she's a cinematographer too.
Wow. Roger Deakins must be shaking in his boots.
You're going to like this, Ryan, because Mark Duplass didn't think that Creep 2 was as good as it should have been.
At least he's self-aware.
Well, there's one moment that I remember specifically, and I don't know if you reacted the same way, Miriam, because we watched this together back, when was that? 2018?
Where were you living, Laura? That's the only way I can remember what year it was.
I had just moved to Scotland.
Okay.
So you
All
came
right,
to help me
yes.
move. You met me in Manchester.
Yes.
And we took the train over with the dog. And we were staying in that weird...
We made those poor
Airbnb.
men tear open the train toilet because we were going to die. And we were like, we don't care if this fucking toilet is out of order. This girl just flew here and then had to deal with this dog, and she has got to fucking pee. So open that shit with a crowbar. And then we went in together and we were just like laughing with embarrassment because they couldn't quite close the door and they had to manually like pry the Great Western Railway toilet open. It was so good.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad situation. That toilet was very full. We just had to add to that situation and just close the toilet and hope it didn't slosh over.
Full of what?
Like pee-pee.
Oh.
Everyone else's pee
Was not full of
But
diarrhea.
anyway, and then we got to Edinburgh, and we got into a little black cab, and he was so excited about Mouth, and then we went to Laura's first place of slumber in Scotland.
We did, and we basically lived off of cheese and whiskey for a solid week before the festival started. Like, genuinely,
we watched a lot of horror movies.
So much cheese.
And RuPaul's Drag Race.
You know there's more shops than just the whiskey and cheese. Like,
Nah.
You didn't have to pick up your I wonder what they eat in Scotland. Nothing but cheese and whiskey. What do you think?
No, there was other
I just
stuff
wanted
too, but like
cheese and
mostly
Oh, okay.
cheese and whiskey.
You know what I like.
Yeah, no, that's
She's
true.
a simple woman.
Yeah, the more I think about it,
Yeah, the more it makes sense.
the more I'm like, yeah, no, that does make sense. Yeah.
I'm sure there's photos of us sitting in that weird living room, Miriam, picking horror movies to watch and downing an entire bottle of whiskey in one sitting.
Oh yeah, 100%, like for sure. I was like, finally, like Laura and I can just drink whiskey and watch horror movies and watch Ryan's favorite piece of cinema, The Boy.
Oh yeah, The Boy.
Oh, the fucking boy.
Did you, in the beginning of the movie, before even the titles happened, Miriam, did you have that same reaction where Aaron...
Aaron.
Aaron.
Where he slices that guy's throat. The very beginning of the film.
Oh, the
Like-
really cute guy? Oh,
Yeah.
he was so cute.
He's like, I just don't want to tell you when we're going to tell you, but I've been filming our entire relationship and
It was
I've been
so
stalking you.
awkward.
And
And then I was like, no, not him. And then
he did it so fast. You see the knife on his leg and he just goes sloosh, slices his throat.
I know.
Both Ryan and I at the same time went, whoa!
yeah. And it was like,
At the same time.
Schwach, blood all over the wall. And then the guy, you can just hear him just being like, and then he's like, I'm 40. Oh, and I was like, oh my God. When we watched that movie, I wasn't 40 yet. And then like this time I was like, yeah, I feel you, dude.
You really felt it, right? Like it really connected
I
with
felt
you,
it
that
this
murder.
time around. I was like, I feel that about other things, not murder, but I get you. You're 40. You're having a crisis. I'm there with you.
Well,
I'm
he's
getting-
40
I
and he's
understand
coming
now
up on
what
his
you-
40th kill.
He's the in-between kill. Like, he's like, you know, Creep 1 was the kill that we witnessed, and then this guy is a movie that wasn't shot, we saw the ending of, which then moves into Creep 2, where now he's just putting ads out because he's sad, because he had a really lackluster kill with this really cute guy that he thought he was going to have a good time with, and he didn't, you know.
Right, okay.
And I bet you in
Yeah.
the future we're going to see Creep 3, which is just going to be the movie that was the ending that we already know. Because they're going to be like, it's going to be a twist. And you're like, we know the ending.
Yeah, that's something that they're working on. I know that they wanted to make a Creep 3, but
Yeah, it's in the works.
Duplass
That's the one I
keeps-
didn't talk about because, I don't know, whatever.
well, he doesn't want to do it until it's perfect because he wasn't totally satisfied with Creep 2. So doing a Creep 3, he's like, I've got it. Like, we have to have a perfect idea. It has to be different. It has to, like, you know, move to another level.
Good luck.
Did you guys think that Sarah's Encounters YouTube series was actually pretty interesting? Because I did.
Oh, 100%. I thought that was... Because I remember knowing a Sarah when I first moved to Europe. And she was from the States, but had, like, been in Europe. And she was like, oh, no, like, I da-da-da-da. And I just remember her telling me that, like, she doesn't have a real job. And I was like, what do you do? And she's like, oh, I go around and I cuddle people. I was like, I'm sorry. Excuse me. She's like, yeah, I go online and I go and I see these ads and it's for like lonely people who just want to be like held or coddled or cuddled, or they want like to go on a picnic and be fed because it's never happened to them, and it's just like they fetishized it, but there's no sex involved. I'm just like, you know, sometimes I pretend to be their mom, or like they've never had a sister, and I'm like sitting there going, excuse me, you do what? That is very interesting and good. Little bit scary. And she's like, no, because they don't want to have sex. And in a weird way, I found it to be slightly creepier than if you just like met up and had sex with people. Like, I don't know why. just like, someone
Yeah.
wants to pretend to be a baby and you're their mom and you're singing them lullabies. Like, I don't know why that just makes me feel more uncomfortable than a guy just like showing you a dick pic and being like, you into it? Like, I don't know.
It's interesting because it's such a vulnerable thing that you're jumping into. But I mean, if you get paid, I don't know if it's something she liked to do.
Until you
Probably
start
got paid a lot.
changing, until you
Shit,
start changing
maybe
nappies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I mean, I get the whole
romance,
cuddle
but-
puddle. I totally get the cuddle puddle. And I get, like, just, wanting to meet up with people to chat, like, for sure. But, like, the whole, like, I don't know. I've just never really been into people pretending to be babies.
It's something. It sure is something.
It can be your thing. It can be anybody's thing. But Miriam just wouldn't be interested in playing mom. So just letting the world know.
You don't want to cuddle a sexy baby?
No.
Laura, you're getting yourself into some dangerous territory here.
Our little boy doll and there's sexy babies?
Yeah, no, there's something wrong with you, like, mentally. Yeah.
Every single thing that you always tell yourself that you're like, okay, I've just found myself in a situation where there's a chance that's pretty big one that this person is a murderer, a killer. Like in all the movies, and like your first thought is like, just be cool and try to befriend the psycho killer by pretending to also be a psycho so that you can get your opportune moment and escape. And like this movie, like up until halfway through, you're like, this chick is a genius. She's pretty much just like playing mind games with this guy to like find a way for him like to trust her so she can escape. And then you're like, wait, no, but yeah.
The one thing this film kind of does, which kind of defies expectation, is that he buries the lead by saying, I'm a killer, I have killed people, I will kill people, this is going to happen. So you are kind of half expecting, oh, well, at least he's burying the lead, there's no secrecy here. It's not like she's under any sort of misconception as to what his goals are. But overall, I mean, that I don't know how much that... The thing is like, by putting something out there on Front Street, there has to be a level of believability. And I don't know, like, there's part of me that doesn't think Mark Duplass can even carry a role where he is a killer. There is a movie that does this concept better, and it's called Man Bites Dog, where it's a mockumentary movie about a documentary crew that follows a literal serial killer who goes around killing, and they film the killings as they happen. That's maybe something that Creep 2 maybe needed, was a little bit more of that.
Yeah, but you don't want to replicate something that's already happened and something that's already has a bit of notoriety.
I'd prefer it to have some level of believability. Give it a little bit of weight. Because as much as there's all this philosophizing and he's got this delusion of grandeur, which is a trait of most serial killers, it's kind of nothing... but it's lacking a lot of substance, other than it's just like, here's a lot of fluff. It's filling up the time in the movie, and then I'll chase you at the end.
There is the part in the film where they're in the forest and they're trying to get that perfect shot in the light, and he's sitting in the little creek, and she's filming him.
That's the Ryan scene. That was it. That scene was so funny. I just kept getting mad about, like,
scene went on way too long, in my opinion.
Does that mean I'm pretentious? Like, what's going on?
But it was just like
understand.
this, like he kept trying to film it, and then just like it wouldn't happen, and then like he almost got it right, and she was like, "I know he's a perfectionist about video, so I'm just gonna have to tell him that he's in the shadow," and he was just like, "I can't anymore." Like he had to leave. I was like, I've never seen Ryan's process, but I imagine he's a director, cinematographer, and every single one of them has had this moment, and it's just really funny because I'm going to be sharing the podcast with someone who actually knows what they're doing.
I am a bit of a perfectionist. That's not a lie. Yeah, no, that is true.
Stupid.
You're not wrong.
You definitely
You're
are.
very
And
correct.
the birds.
That part is funny. That part is good.
The part with the birds where he's like, "I dare you, do it again. I want you to do it again." And then he just starts fucking screaming and throwing the rocks at the bird. And then he has that moment with the ponytail. He's like, how's my tail? And she like fixes it. He goes, and he's just like, oh, so we're just gonna do the whole thing then? That's not what I asked, but okay, fine. Maybe that's why you're a shitty serial killer now, because before you were like a 9-to-5 serial killer. You had like a shitty job that you hated, and you had to like go to like the bad bar with the people you don't like to talk about like the Kardashians. And then like you got a better job because you're assuming all these identities, and now you're kind of like rich, and so now you're like a yuppie.
What bar do you go to talking about the Kardashians? The fucking Kardashians?
That's what people who have no lives talk about at a water cooler in an office, I guess. I don't know. I don't work in an office building. I have no idea.
I don't know. I think you just talk about pornography when you're at the water cooler.
Yeah.
Pornography and sports. Yeah. I saw that touchdown, and then I saw that cream pie on the movies.
Oh my god. Wow. So there's a really important scene that we haven't touched on yet, and it comes in at 24 minutes and 56 seconds into this film.
Is this the dick scene?
This is the dick scene.
Wow.
And I like this part very much, and it's my favorite part of the film, not only because it is a full frontal nudity scene, but because it's I don't know why, but it's the most interesting part of the story in terms of his character and her character getting to know each other.
Definitely.
But it's different in the fact that you have a static shot, a full body shot of this naked man standing there, holding his leg, ever just so.
His leg! The leg! I couldn't get over the leg! The slight leg!
The leg
what
was
that?
killing me. The leg was killing me. And he was just standing
me.
with the leg. Oh my god.
The leg! Oh my god!
Kills me.
I was like, please let me not have been the only person to have picked up on the awkward toe leg. Like, did he have a cramp, or was it just part of him being uncomfortable?
I think it's just like a weird, how ladies pose when they're doing like group shots, and you put your hands on your hips and you do a little turn to make yourself look thin. I feel like he was just doing a little like leg pose just to not be just standing there. Like he had to do a little thing.
Or maybe like his balls were like slightly like sticking to his leg, and he does that normally, but he's never seen himself do it in the nude, and so it looks a little silly. I don't know. But if that's Ryan.
I mean, your balls do stick to the inside of your thigh. I mean, you should, yeah, I mean.
Put some powder on those thighs.
Yeah, just get yourself a bit of talc.
Talc up
just talc up.
Talc
yeah,
up
just
those
talc it
peppers.
Up. Yeah, talc it up so you can, those little sacks of love, just make sure they're not sticking to your leg.
Little love sacks.
Yeah, little love sacks.
Give them a little powder
hairy
and a
love
pat.
sacks. Yeah, give them a little pat down.
Powder and pat. Mm-hmm. Nothing says sexy like a man undressing for the first time, and he's got chalky white legs and thighs.
This is one of the only scenes in the movie that works for me.
It's great, and this happens right after he shows Sarah the video of his last kill. So when he kills Aaron from the previous film, he shows that scene where Aaron's sitting on the bench looking over the lake, and then Joseph comes over in his Peach Fuzz werewolf mask with the axe and slams him in the head, which is a very I love that. I loved that video. I loved that.
I mean, to be fair, it's completely his own fault of his lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Like he deserved to probably die.
He's probably on his phone or something.
Probably TikTok.
That was TikTok in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. So he's showing her that video, I guess trying to size her up, see what she thinks, and see maybe if she actually believes that he's a serial killer like he's been telling her the entire time, ever since she walked in the door. So it's not working. She's not phased. And this is how she's been through the entire film. She's not phased by his bullshit, by the stuff that he's spewing at her. He's trying to scare her. He's always jumping out of closets or jumping around the corner and screaming in her face, which is where you get those jump scares, which did not work for me this time. Actually, I did not get any jump scares this time. And he's not getting what he wants out of her. He's not getting that reaction. Like he's looking for some sort of reaction. She's just not giving him anything. So it's kind of, the tables are not turning necessarily because she's not trying to kill him, but it's a different type of victim. So
well, it's kind of, the playing field's relatively leveled out. Yeah.
Yes. So at that point, this is where he runs upstairs and then comes back down wearing only a towel. And he just stands there against the wall and starts to explain how, men in a locker room with other men will slap each other with towels, and women in the dressing room will undress in front of each other, and it's not an issue, but with a man and a woman, there's always a wall between them, because they're always wondering what the other one looks like naked. So he just says, we need to tear down that wall. We need to tear down that wall, and asks if she's into it, asks if she consents to him disrobing, and she does, and he just whips off that towel.
Are we not going to talk about the hand gesture? The hand gesture?
Oh, do tell. Explain it to me.
He's doing his whole speech with his hand on his towel like he's some Roman orator, and he does this heart forward, back forth hand maneuver, and I feel like we need to break down that boundary. And it's this awkward hand gesture that he does. It's just like what you would do if you met an alien race and you were trying to be me, Miriam, you.
Well, that's what all men do when they go into a steam room. Yeah, I did that.
You did that when you went into a steam room? You're just gesticulating and...
I just walk in there and I'm slightly leaning more on my left leg while my toes are kind of standing more on my right, and I'm just like, what's up, fellas?
Gesturing.
And then I just disrobe.
And you're gesturing this way and that.
Yeah, I sit right next down to the guy who's got and I have to lift his dick off because I need to sit there, so I put it back on his lap, and then I sit down.
And he just stands there for a very long time.
Proudly, but awkwardly with the foot.
Proudly and awkwardly with his toe and his leg doing a funny thing, his left leg. But yeah, he just stands there not saying anything for several seconds. And it's just that static wide shot, right? Am I saying it right, Ryan?
Yeah, it's wide. It's not like when she disrobes and it just zooms in straight on her face.
I thought that was really smart.
You do see boobs.
For a second. You see
you do.
a nip.
I think
he's not interested.
Yeah, he's a liar.
He didn't care about
Well, he never said that he did.
No.
He just
wanted to be naked in front of her and see her reaction. And so when she was like, cool, I'm going to get naked.
Fair. I mean, his original reasoning was that men and women always wonder what the other one looks like naked, so they should just get it out of the way. Yeah. But I think that was just an excuse. Yeah, you're right. I think it was an excuse to, again, try to throw her off course, which...
didn't work.
Because nothing he was doing was working. He's like, I'll show you my murder video. Nope, didn't work. Oh, I'll try to scare you. Nope, that's not working either. I'll tell you I'm a fucking murderer. Nope, nothing. Let me get my dick out.
Still not. Okay.
Let me get my dick out. All within the first 10 minutes. Nothing. Doesn't blink an eye. She gets naked too.
But then the shot is
cool.
Which I thought was really cool, was that it was just her face. He's still quasi I'm probably gonna kill her and she's gonna die and this video is going to be released into the world, but that doesn't mean that I want people to see her naked. He is just no, I just kind of want her to be my last big kill, she's mine, in that way, in that weird sociopath trophy kind of way.
Well, I felt like the conception going into this movie was that his victims were predominantly male.
Yeah.
So with her coming in, it never felt like there was any sort of level of significant threat to her.
Right. Well, he also does explain that he did not intend to kill her. He intended, because he was sick of it, he was bored of it, he didn't feel how he used to feel when he killed people. So he was trying to take this as a switch up, because he always filmed all of his other murders, and he says in the film that he wants to film her murdering him and do the old switcheroo and take down the king. I think he says something like that.
Yeah.
Because he's tired. He already has 39 videos of him murdering people. Might as well switch it up and have someone murdering him, and just because he's over it. I don't know, I thought that was interesting, and I wasn't sure, and I don't think he was ever sure throughout the whole film whether or not he was actually going to have her kill him, or was he going to murder her.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a weird thing, because you never quite got a grasp on the relationship that was happening between the two of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's just kind of into the poor writing.
Well, there wasn't any writing.
There should have been. Yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting part of the film. It stuck out to me like crazy when that happened. So.
Well, of course it does, because that's you.
Yeah.
Aye.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
This is my thing.
Yeah, you can see that shit from space, that expression on your face.
Joy.
Yeah.
It's the thing where we're so used to, especially in horror, of getting boobs. Boobs, boobs, boobs.
Boobies, boobies,
Yeah.
boobies.
And in this film, you are given a straight, wide, full frontal shot of a man naked for a very long time. So you're getting a complete switcheroo, which you don't get. Like, you don't get that. And I like that. I like that you're switching it up, you're turning it on its head, your conceptions of what you are expecting in a horror film. And when it is her turn and she gets naked, it's like a split second, you get like a half nip.
And then, like, another scene that I remember feeling like, I don't know what my level of discomfort is here, but it's pretty high. And it's like right after, you know, he has his like, you know, way too long breakdown after the hilarious birds and shadows bridge scene. And then, like, she finds him
In the hot tub?
In the hot tub, yes. And she finds him in the hot tub. He's at the point where he's like, you know what? Just go. I don't even care anymore. I'm done. And I'm like, just get the fuck out. Like, get the fuck out. Like, literally 2 scenes before this, you were staring at every fucking window, trying to figure out how the fuck to escape this person. And they're literally, like, disheartened enough to be like, just go. And instead, she listens to his, like, sob story and then proceeds to, like, get into the hot tub, fully clothed, right? But, like, behind him, and starts, like, awkwardly massage choking him. And he's, like, grunting and making all these, like, weird wolf noises, which is another thing. Like, he's, like obsessed with wolf sounds. He's, like, and he's, like, growling, and she's, like...
I have to say, Miriam, I kind of liked it.
That was weird. I'm always rooting that somehow the psychopath, serial villain, does have a heart of gold and just really needed a Batman or a whatever, like, to just show up and, like...
Batman?
What's Batman gonna do?
What's Batman doing here in the woods? Vengeance.
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 You know, they're like, it's like Grendel and Beowulf. It's a classic Grendel and Beowulf story, again and again and again. When you have a villain and a hero that are matched, you know, not like...
Yeah. I was kind of, when it comes to movies like this, and you have a situation where you know the character's in danger, imminent danger, and she's getting warned, and she's getting warned, and she has outs over and over, and this could be he, she, whoever, in any type of film. We've seen it before. But they don't listen to the warnings. She even says,
Red
after
flags.
she sees his dick, and she says, you know, he whipped his dick out within 10 minutes, and these red flags are popping up all over the place, and she said, this is going to be perfect for me. And she puts a knife in her boot. And so this is a person who understands the danger, that understands what's happening in a way, but doesn't listen to herself and keeps putting herself in danger. When that happens, I'm rooting for the killer.
Same.
All the way. I'm rooting for the killer. I go, you know what? You're dumb. You're not listening. You're genuinely just trying to get hits on YouTube.
But at the same time, she's a fucking sociopath. Like, she gets, just like a serial killer gets off on killing people, she gets off on, like, putting these people's, like, weird lives on video. Like, she gets off on literally, like when she goes to see these people, she's also, like, mocking them. Like, they're her victims, and it's, like, a different type of crime, you know? Like, they're both fucked up.
I like that.
Yeah, like, that's what makes it interesting.
She's a damn crim. A dirty crim.
Yeah, she's a whatever.
There is a moment where I do think that the two of them actually do convince themselves that, like, for, like, a second, that the other one is into them.
Yeah.
The vanity of the predator is in both of them.
I thought he was going to, not Bonnie and Clyde, but, you know.
Oh, he's
Romeo and Juliet,
himself,
that shit.
But, like...
Or what's another way? Who are 2 people that killed themselves? Like, but on purpose.
No, it was Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, whatever. So it's like, you know, we're going to go out together.
The original Scream, where, like, you know, the other person stabs you in the not vital organs. So, like, I think that he stabbed himself, but he knows where not to stab himself because he stabs people a lot. Why didn't she just stay hidden in the dark and let him bleed to death?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Ryan said that too. He's like, how long would it have taken for him to bleed out?
Why wouldn't you just hide? What's wrong with you?
Well, then otherwise there would be no movie, which is kind of just how by the numbers this film ends up being, really.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, it does change up a bit because at the end of the movie, you know, she also gets stabbed, almost buried alive. He almost dies. And then she hits, you know, like, it kind of goes back and forth. Like, you don't know who's dying. You don't know who the victim is. They're both the victim.
It's also on that note, though, it's a little nonsensical. Like, it's just...
Why?
What do you mean, why is it nonsensical?
But, like, in what way does it not make sense?
Because there's a lot of different ways it can go. And the issue is that because these characters choose to do things a very certain way, it sets up things that become unbelievable.
I don't understand, but that's okay.
And also, the film's interminably boring. So, I mean, by the time you do get to that point, you're just like, well, when is it over? Like, I'm checking on the Netflix timer.
Oh my gosh, it is cool 80 minutes long.
It's
it feels
so
like
short,
4
Ryan.
hours.
Like,
That is...
I was like, oh my god, this is 1980s horror movie long.
It's certainly not 1980s horror film quality.
My happy ending, I kind of wanted her to be stalking somebody. And, like, in that way, because he had mentioned, like, I'm the master and you're my apprentice. And she's like, whatever. Like, because he could tell that she had these, like, tendencies.
Well, also, he does say when he was in the hot tub and they were discussing his murders and his, trauma, let's say, that every victim that he's taken, which is 39 people, he takes a little bit of each of them, and he does assume maybe not their identity, but at least their names, and so or are something that they have, like affectations that they have, like pulling out his beard hair and traits that his victims has, and so he's an amalgamation of every single one of his victims. So that would make sense if she were to do that, because then he would have been her victim, and then she would have taken on a trait of her victim.
Yeah, and that would have been interesting, weird.
But then she also didn't do the simple thing of just taking the camera after all was said and done.
Yeah, like, why did she leave I would have taken...
So that just
why would you leave
blows that whole thing out of the water.
As we're kind of getting towards the end of the movie,
Thank God.
I wanted before...
I feel like there has been no stone unturned as opposed to the deep uncovering of Creep 2.
Well, how about, let me ask Miriam a question. Miriam, would you recommend that people watch this movie?
Wow, just put me right on the spot, Laura. What? Well, first of all, you would have had to have watched Creep 1. So you would have sat through that film, which is interesting. And like I said before, the Creep movies are like somebody who's really into murder, but also Larry David. So you have to be able to deal with that level of, like, constant awkward.
I would rather watch Larry David than Mark Duplass in that role.
Oh God, how weird would that be?
That'd
I
be
love
so
that.
fucking awesome. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to use a public bathroom because I've trained myself not to use a public bathroom.
So
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if she recommends this or not. Is it no?
Sounds like a no.
No. Sorry.
Nice. I like this.
Damn.
I like this persecution sandwich we are setting up.
Well, Mark Duplass is a classic white man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, he's the classic good-looking white man.
He's no
Yes.
John Stamos, but, like, you know, he's all right.
First person that comes to your mind when you think about a hunk.
Why? What's wrong with John Stamos? John Stamos is a fantastic reference.
You guys are more alike than I realized. Okay, so Ryan, would you recommend this movie?
Well, no, I wouldn't. It's It's not a good film. It's not a good film. And the thing is, I gave the original Creep, because at least Creep it does get scary. The problem is that Creep 2 just does not develop any level of atmosphere. And the thing is, as much as it's trying to be a dark comedy, at no point is it ever really funny, and I never at any point felt uncomfortable like you guys have been saying for the last 40 minutes. I never felt uncomfortable one time. I felt confused. I felt trite. I didn't feel like I believed any of it. I mean, I was just kind of like, when is this going to kick off so that it finishes? It's it's a tiresome film that's now within a subgenre.
Oh my god.
That's just following a beat plan, and it's just not particularly interesting. But
Okay.
the only good things about it are that there's like those philosophical musings that are kind of going through it, and I love the idea that he's really taking a hold of this psychotic persona, because if anything, all he's kind of done is he's read like the McDonald triad, and he's be like, well, I can just act like someone who inherits all of those traits of what makes up a serial killer, and then that's what it'll be.
Uh-huh.
I would recommend this movie because you guys suck.
Of course you would. Yeah.
After the very beginning, which, as Miriam was saying, is the actual end to the other film, I do think it goes down a bit. The very beginning is very exciting, and I love that part. And after the penis scene at 25 minutes in, it does go a little bit downhill. I do like it, and I do think that it's interesting, and I would recommend it. So, suck it. That's how I feel.
Wow.
Well done.
Thank you
what
very
a hill
much.
to die on.
So, Miriam, on a scale 0 to 5, 5 being the absolute best, how would you rate the visibility and context of the full frontal nudity in this film?
Oh, well. Context was just perfect, I think. It was just out of the blue, awkward. I loved it. I thought it was so weird, and you weren't really sure if he was gonna go through with it, and I don't think he was sure about it, and then he did. It was exactly what I thought and more, and I was not upset. I don't know what else to say.
Great. Absolutely. So, Ryan, what about you? 0 to 5.
It's the only scene in the movie I like, and I gave it 5.
Great.
Because at least it works within the context of the escalation of moments in that sequence. But then the film just goes wildly downhill and uninteresting after that point.
Okay. I'm giving it a 5, obviously. It's different. It's different than the ones we've done before because it is so static, and it's such a long shot that it differentiates itself from the rest of the scenes that we've done on the podcast, and it's different from a typical horror film. So it's greatly appreciated. I think it's different. It does something different, and it's no frills. No frills. I like it. And I'm just going to jump in with my rating for the film. I gave it a 3.5. It's not my favorite. I liked it. You know, I usually give 3s to things that I like, and then the half is just for funsies. So, what would you rate the film, Miriam, out of 5?
So we'll go on a scale of horror films. And on a scale of horror films, Halloween and The Thing and Alien being a 5, this movie was a 1.5. I'm sorry, Laura.
Nice. Yeah, because she echoes my sentiment.
Yeah, you guys are
I gave
pretty
it
on
1.5.
point together with this one.
Because it's not scary. It's not a horror movie for the most part. It's a victim of its own trappings, and those trappings are dull, trite, tropey.
What's the rating?
1.5. I said.
Oh, you said 1.5.
Yeah, I said
Okay.
1.5 already. Yeah.
Oh my god, can I tell you a little excerpt that my lesbian friend told me about shame the other day, which I really wanted to share on your podcast?
Oh, yes, please.
I'd never heard of this film because I'm out of the loop. But my friend Emma, who is a very intense lesbian,
Lovely.
I had told her about your podcast, and she was like, "Oh, clearly she knows about the movie Shame." And I was like, "I'm sure she does. Why?" And she's like, "Oh, I went to go see the movie. For some reason, it was at IMAX." And I went,
"What?"
And she's like, "Let me just point out the fact that when Mike Fassbender's scene was on the screen, it was so big that it would have put out everyone's eye had it been in 3D, and it was more dick than this lesbian could handle, and I had to cover my eyes."
Wow. That's beautiful. Well, we will see you next time.
And 17 episodes.
Tune in to the rest of Spooky Penis Month, and remember, if anyone wants to see what we're doing next, get on our social medias, which is on the BiTTE, BiTTE. And also, if people want to get really weird and deep with us, they can follow us on Letterboxd and watch what kind of trash that we're up to. And I think there's links in the bio on our Instagram for that. I don't know, social media.
There's links in the link tree that we have on the Twitter and the Instagram.
And maybe we'll bully Miriam enough to get on Letterboxd.
I'm happy to do anything as long as it's not 17 episodes from now. Guys, just want to add that in.
Okay.
Great. Well, yeah, thanks again, guys, and we will see you next time.
Yay.
Bye.
Spooky.